Well, hello and welcome to our video. My name is John Watts. I'm an Alabama consumer protection attorney, and we're going to look at another federal court lawsuit example. So in this particular case, it involves a debt collector who's violating the federal law, FDCPA, Fair Debt Collection Practices Act, and Alabama state law, so things such as invasion of privacy. So the company that we sued in this case was FirstSource Advantage, who is a debt collector. And they were calling the consumer multiple times a day, according to the allegations. And they were not only calling multiple times a day, but they also were calling family members and other third parties. Now, a third party is simply anybody other than the consumer or the consumer's spouse. So that would be children, parents, neighbors, the preacher, co-workers, anybody other than the consumer and the consumer's spouse. And then this company, it wasn't enough just to call multiple times a day or to call third parties, but then they said, we're going to continue to call third parties. So what's the problem? Well, the problem is you've got this debt collector who's going to keep calling you, calling your neighbors, family members, and they say they're going to continue to do it. So how do you stop this? How do you prevent this from happening? Well, debt collectors like FirstSource are not allowed to harass you. That is against the law. They cannot call third parties. Remember, third party is anybody other than you or your spouse. Very limited exception, what's called location information. So they can call a third party to ask your name, your phone number, your place of employment, your address, things like that. Okay? Very, very limited amount of information that they can obtain. And they can only do that if they don't have that information already. So we have these cases where these debt collectors will call you, leave you a voicemail message and say, and they mention your name and they say, I know you're avoiding me, so therefore I'm going to call your mother, your co-workers, your neighbors. So they already have your information. So they have no right to call a third party. And if they do call a third party, it can only be to get your home phone, place of employment, your address. That's it. Nothing else. So when they continue to call you, and then when they start bringing in third parties, family, neighbors, co-workers, of course that's very, very upsetting. So how do you stop it? Well, the solution is that you sue these people. So in this particular case, you sue FirstSource, and you sue them for money damages because money is the only thing that will get their attention, where they go, maybe we shouldn't be doing this because, yes, we get a lot more money in by breaking the law, but it costs us money when we get caught and we get sued. So what laws did we use? Well, we used the FDCPA, Fair Debt Collection Practices Act. It's a law that governs debt collectors and talks about you can't call third parties except these very limited circumstances. You can't harass people. You can't threaten to do things that are illegal, like calling third parties. We also used Alabama state law, which governs abusive debt collection practices. So how can this help you? Well, here's the thing. When you're dealing with a debt collector who's harassing you, or you think maybe they're harassing me, or they're calling somebody other than you or your spouse, keep very careful notes. Okay? If they call your cell phone, take a screenshot. With an iPhone, you press both buttons. If you have an Android, Windows phone, just find out. Go to your cell phone place, or if you have a 12-year-old, they'll tell you how to do it, okay? Or just Google it. Document those calls. Make notes. You can always email that picture to yourself with notes about, here's what happened. Because documentation is the key. That is critical. These debt collectors that we sue, we fully expect that they will destroy records, they will alter the records, they will alter their notes. And it's so funny, I mean, not, ha-ha funny, but just it's ironic that they will come into court and go, Judge, we have the notes. This is the gospel truth. And then we say, well, what about these 17 phone calls you made? Oh, those never happened. Judge, we have the gospel truth here. And then you say, well, here's our documentation of it. They go, oh, we just had a computer glitch, and funny thing is, what a coincidence, we just found those 17 calls. So yes, we did make those calls, and we were just about to tell the court about those calls. So you just expect that they lie, okay? So how do you protect yourself? Documentation. Document what happens. Look, here's the long-term solution. If you want to really stop abusive debt collectors from abusing you, you sue them. You sue them in federal court. You make them pay money damages. You make that a public lawsuit so that other people who are abused by them can find out about it and go, hey, wait a minute, I'm not the only person that blank company is harassing here. And then that motivates other people to sue them. And eventually you reach a tipping point where these guys will say, it's just not worth being sued. Here's a crazy thought, let's actually follow the law and not abuse consumers when we collect debts. Amazing, I know. But eventually they'll do it once they're sued enough. So if you have questions, comments, you can leave those below this video, or if you're watching this on one of our websites, you can put it in a comment below. Now, if you have a specific question about what a debt collector is doing to you, you may not want to put that in a public forum. Just reach out to us directly. Main phone number is 205-879-2447, and ask for Carolyn. She'll take down your information, set up a phone call with me. Or you can go to alabamaconsumer.com. You can read all sorts of information there. There's a contact us form on there, and we'll get back with you on that. So let us know if we can help you in any way. And if you find this video useful, feel free to share it on Twitter or Facebook, and we appreciate that. And thank you for spending time, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks. Bye-bye.